The next session is moderated by Marite. Please, Marite, come on the stage. She is the Fintech community manager at Swedbank. Yes, applause, applause. I see you guys, you want to applause. Yes. She's a Fintech community manager at Swedbank. And when talking about talent, she has been with the company for 7 years. So look at that. Your
Very
bosses
committed.
must have done really something well and good. And if you didn't know, as a teenager, she used to be a professional hip-hop dancer.
Emphasis on the used to be, so there will be no showcasing today, but maybe at the after party this evening, you never know. So one of the reasons why I'm particularly interested in this session, and we're not calling it a panel, thank you, Prit, for that. We really want to engage all of you, but my personal interest here is really because, well, maybe my bosses have done something right, but I have done something right as well, to be with the company for 7 years. And there's some amazing companies out there that are not only attracting talent, but keeping them happy and engaged. And here with me today, we have 4 people from 4 very different companies, and I hope also some interesting conflicting views on what is the secret sauce of talent attraction and retention. So please, panelists, welcome to the stage. Now, this is very curious seating. Someone can come also sit next to me. I don't bite. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How about you give a short introduction about yourselves so that everyone gets to know where you're from. Give maybe an insight of what company you work for and what you love most about the company that you're employed by. Starting with you.
Oh, yeah. Hello, my name is Liisa. I'm head of HR in LHV Bank. That's an Estonian bank. And what was the second question?
What do you love most about your own job?
Yeah. What I do love, and this sounds like a cliche, but I really do love that I have the freedom to do my own things with my team. So I'm really lucky to have my team lead. Yeah.
Okay, hello. My name is Agne. I'm coming from Bolt, previously Taxify. So who has Taxify or Bolt app? Yoo-hoo! Good choice.
Who's using the discount code of Latitude? Yes, there's one with 20% off. Agnes, you should be promoting this.
Yes, of course. So please, use our app. So you know what company I am working in, and I am responsible for our people and culture. What I like the most in my job, maybe, and what I praise mostly, is the flexible working time, on top of our options, of course.
Hello, my name is Johanna Pystynen, and I work as a director of people operations in a Finnish IT company called Vincit. And I joined the company 2012, and I was the first woman in-house. There were 50 male engineers confronting me, and nowadays we have nearly 500 employees, so we have grown quite fast. And my job is to create structures and tools for people to feel happy and productive and so on. What I love in our company is that we are quite good in challenging the status quo. You know, we have done a lot of things differently than traditional companies, and I think that is the one key factor why people are interested also to join our company.
Hello, my name is Valter. I'm an attorney and a partner at Hedman Partners law firm. Our law firm is based in Tallinn, and we are focused in the tech sector. We work closely with talented founders and startups who have innovative and disruptive business models. We advise them in basically all legal issues related to their business. And we also advise investors who are investing into those startups. As for me, I've been working as a lawyer for 10 years. I would say 7 years of that period I've been exclusively working with startups and advise them mostly on financing, but also on other corporate issues such as option schemes. And what I like about my company is definitely number one is the team. And secondly, I would second to what my panelists just said, that freedom to do what you like. So those are the two most important things.
Thank you, guys. Happy to have you here. And now, you know, I'm actually a really good also internet stalker. or let's say researcher. I've done a bit of research about your companies just to kind of get a vision of who is how big, how old. So I believe you're from the oldest company in our little group, 1993. Second oldest is LHV, which is only, 20-something years old.
20, yeah.
And for a bank, where I come from, Swedbank, which is like 200, you're basically a startup in like banking years. And then, of course, we have Bolt, which has grown extremely quickly. And Vincit, one thing that I really liked about your webpage was your goal with employees is so that nobody hates coming to work on Monday.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a great goal to have. I love my job, but I mean, I really don't smile with the 7 a.m. alarm clock on Mondays, you know. So it's going to be interesting to hear how you get to do that. But we really want to engage with the audience as well. So as Pete already mentioned, raise your hands, ask questions. I also wanted to kind of get a feel of the room. So raise your hand if you work with HR or talent attraction in your companies. Okay, quite a lot of hands. Now, unless your boss is sitting next to you, which then I know you're obligated to raise your hand those who absolutely love their current job. So quite a few bosses sitting next to, or really we have, or we really have a lot of people that enjoy what they do at the moment. But could you be doing something even more interesting? Or for our HR people, could you be doing something better for those that work within your teams? That's the question of the day. So from the audience, what are your expectations? What do you really want to learn about in this discussion, in this session? Any thoughts, insights? What would you want to ask these 4 people? Not that I'm unprepared, but... How to attract the best talent for little money. Well, obviously money is not all that matters when hiring people. What do you think when you have job interviews or when you're advising companies? What is the one thing that employees ask about the most at the moment? Like, what's the reoccurring question? What's important for them nowadays?
I would just answer quickly. I would offer options. I mean, if you don't have the cash, you can offer equity, right? So it's the most easy thing, I think, for you to offer if there's no cash available. So, yeah.
I can maybe say from the startup point of view, it's the challenging job, like the meaningfulness of these responsibilities. Like our engineering, why they're coming from all over the world, from very tech companies like Google, Facebook, and so on. So we are competing with them. Why they come? Because Bolt is growing very fast, and they can do something really meaningful with very great impact.
I think because I'm working in the IT sector, the challenge is different. You know, people get paid more than they would need, the money they would need, and the challenge is that they don't anymore care about the money. You know, we cannot compete with the salaries. We have to offer something else that actually is different from other companies. And I think they are looking for a meaningful project, as you said. You know, something where they can actually be having autonomy on the job they are doing and make their own decisions and these kind of factors. And they want to have examples. They don't just believe what I'm talking about. They want to see the, what we can exactly offer for them.
Yeah, I have to agree on that candidates actually are not asking for money anymore. They are looking for purpose and freedom as well. So I guess in our case, the purpose they are wanting to join is building an Estonian bank, because we're big enough, 400 people, to build a really good bank, but small enough to really have an input while doing it. So yeah, maybe that's for us.
So it's the
we have a question,
please.
I think, from
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, because it's perks versus purpose. You're all talking about purpose. What do you mean by perks? Are they just like small bandages, or are they something that essentially grow into purpose?
So,
For example, coaching.
I'll repeat the question if, in case someone in the audience didn't hear. So what do we mean by perks? Are there just bandages, or is it something meaningful that you offer? So what type of perks are we talking about? Maybe that is the question. And what's valuable?
Well, I think that the perks can also identify the company values, for example. For example, we offer a lot of benefits or perks that actually are like family benefits. And that also tells that we care about families, and we understand that people have their families and their free time, and they need also support on those things. So I think it's not only about the concrete perks, it's also about what they tell about your company and how you're seeing the people inside.
I mean, there are so many perks that you can offer. For example, in Bolt, when you start, of course, the salary must be off the table. Like, you're not talking about it because people know their values and we are paying them well. So this is off the table. The other thing is about the options, being part of the company, being responsible what you do and how the company evolves. Then coming down, I actually asked yesterday from our engineering side what they praise highly, and the first thing was actually flexible working time, that they are working when they want, from where they want. So mostly, and it's really like a big thing. The other thing was about winter and summer days. We have them yearly, and it's up to 5 days. Everyone comes together, doing meaningful job, and also getting to know each other. So also having fun, of course. And then comes everything else, like educational budget, which is also very important, so that people then go and develop themselves. And also sports. A lot of them are doing sports.
I actually have a question for you, because your company is expanding rapidly across many different markets. So how many markets now are you employing people in?
In 30 countries.
And how do you keep them connected to the company? I'm sure there's a couple of markets where it's just like a few people, right, in the team.
Yeah, for example, in Ghana, in Africa, we have only 4 people, operations people. But of course, it's not very easy that we have created the culture here, and now we bring it just, we spread it along all the countries. It's not like that. So you have to deal with that daily. And what we have done when we are talking about the values in the company, so it's very important. And we have defined the values together with our people. It's very important. And now everyone who is coming in, we are talking about the values and what they mean. So this is kind of our team's job to do that. And also like hiring according to the values. So, yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, one of the questions that is on my mind, because there's obviously some of us, or you, are competing for the same employees. So where do you see, I wouldn't say competing, but where do you see the biggest, basically the biggest competition? What areas at the moment are the ones where it's the hardest to attract the right talent for you, where the markets may be undersaturated?
Yeah, in Estonia, of course, we are searching a lot for engineers, but we are searching them worldwide because there are not enough people here, or the competition is also very high. We are competing with all tech companies, and I mean all over the world. Because our headhunt, we have sorcerers who are actually headhunting 100%. So yeah, all over the world. Competing with everyone.
I think in IT sector we would like to have more engineers who have a lot of experience, and every other company is also trying to have those same guys or girls. And at the moment, as I said, in IT sector, salary increases all the time, so the competition is really tough, and product companies are providing more than we ever can, so we cannot be in this salary competition anymore, so we have to figure out something else. And that then it comes to the meaningful job and autonomy and freedom and these kind of things.
And I also read that you guys offer. So now I know all the perks now. You know, I can go back to my boss with a list of demands. But I heard that you offer both hardware and software that any employee, like what they want to work with, which for me would be a big gain. I work in like a, you know, I need to have the one very secure computer with the one secure IT system. So I think that's a cool perk that you guys have.
Yeah, and we also, you know, we let people to choose their perks, and we have this leadership as a service platform where actually we have 150 services, and everyone can choose their own services. So they create their platter of leadership and support services. So people who are coping with the challenges with, you know, small children and busy work life, they can choose something else than those who are not coping with the same things. So we try to support them uniquely, and this way also give them more meaningful support. And it has worked well. We have now used this like the last 3 years, so we have a lot of good experience from it.
Cool. And now to our audience, what are some of the things that maybe you absolutely love about the companies that you work for, or some of the perks that you wish you had, and maybe we can get inspired here on the stage? Anyone wish to share? Free lunches. What about free lunches? So who's cooking? Okay, so there's a company in Riga that provides free lunches. Are you guys cooking for your employees?
Not actually cooking, but we have free snacks. I think in tech company it's quite a hygiene thing, so you have the snacks.
Yeah, from our service platter, you can choose lunch with the CEO, for example, and we pay the lunch, and we have a lot of lunch sessions in, for example, sharing our talent and these kind of things. So we use lunches. They are quite effective form of, you know, uniting people and talking about important things.
Yeah.
From the lunch parts, we do provide lunch from different restaurants. Thank you. Oh my God, no. I'm Anna from Paxful, and we provide lunch and dinner brought to office for all employees from different restaurants around Tallinn. And I saw that it unites people a lot as well. It's kind of like a social hour during lunchtime and dinner time to chat. But also there is, like, we call it Healthy Corner, where people get not just healthy snack, but also different nutrition. And we're planning to provide nutritional advice as well. So how to structure your diets, your supplements, for example, which is very popular, like protein shakes and all that, you know. So kind of educate people about their healthy lifestyle, I guess.
Oh, wow.
I have to tell, we have this service called Jukka's Pea Soup and French Fries Lunch. And it is a service in our service platform, and we have a designer called Jukka, and his specialty is to cook pea soup and French fries and combining these two. And he has his own service, and every time when 5 employees order this service, Jukka goes to the local grocery store and buys the ingredients and cooks this lunch for his colleagues. So it is always fully booked, and we have to now think about whether Jukka can anymore do this because his daily job is threatened by this lunch sessions at the moment. But yeah, nice way to integrate people and get them to know each other.
I think also it's quite a funny thing that we are doing like health weeks twice a year. And I mean, healthy food is also a very important thing, but if you have tech employees, engineering, then we had a funny thing. What are the most important snacks for people is Kinder Penguin. Do you know the thing? Yeah, very sweet one. And Coca-Cola, of course. So please never take them away. It's very important for these people. And I also like them. So you can talk about healthy things and healthy stuff, but yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah, please.
I would like to challenge you guys a little bit. Like, isn't this a little bit of a first world problem? Like, who offers which snacks at the office? Or have you seen a person who says like, oh, I had 2 choices of a workplace and I chose the one that offers lunch? Like, are there really those people? Or what is from your experience?
Actually, what I can say, in Africa, it's a thing. For example, in Nigeria, and this is quite serious because people are commuting like up to 6 hours to get to work, to get back home. And then they are spending like 12, I don't know what hours at the office. You have to have a bed, a couch where to lay back, and also to provide some lunch. So this is quite important. If you don't do it, it's harder to find people. But in other countries and in Estonia, of course, no.
And of course, it doesn't matter if you, whatever perks you offer, if the basic things are not like on the right level. So they become a joke if your basic things are not working. So I think they are, and I think it's more about what they are symbolizing, you know, what values are behind those perks and why you are offering those. What is your end goal with those perks? You know, uniting people, having time together, these kind of things. So.
Yeah, so you actually brought up a good topic, kind of going back a bit to the question of purpose and what keeps the employees going and what keeps them happy. Today's tech world is one that's quite fast-paced, and with this, it also means that people have a tendency to maybe overwork themselves and burn out, and there has to be some sort of work-life balance. How do you find ways to kind of help your employees keep that balance? And also maybe another question on top of that is, how much of that responsibility lies on the individual and how much of it lies on the company?
I mean, in a startup, it's like if you're growing very fast, and we have grown like 93% in headcount last year. So everyone is doing everything and very quickly, and everything changes very quickly. So this is a problem, of course. And what we can do, of course, we are talking about it. Our own people are talking about the burnout, their experiences. So reminding people that, you know, take time off if you have these periods. But there is like, you can't force people to take vacation if they don't want to. And you just should talk about it a lot.
There is one thing we are trying to balance actually. Estonians have a tendency to take all vacation days within 3 months. This is the only time we actually have a summer, so the rest of the year tends to be, a bit different. So we try to figure out how to keep people happy in the middle of the winter. So we know that they don't have vacation days, we don't have the sun, so we figured out why not to make a pop-up office for 2 months. And we have done that now 3 years in a row. This year we will fly to Cyprus for 2 months. We have a pop-up office there. All our people can go there for a week or two, work there, and also get to know the other people as well. So last year I actually took a week where I didn't know any of the people. So that was a valuable week for me as well, to get to know the team, besides having a really nice time there.
Oh, that's a good one, and actually works in the favor of surviving the gloomy Nordic winters a little bit. I think Swedbank has an office in Spain. I should see if I can go visit that one in the winter as well. It sounds like a good idea.
Question, I think.
Yeah, please. Where is it?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, I'm Anu from Moon Cascade. So I think that there is one really big thing that is missed from these discussions usually, and this is actually element of surprise. So when you're talking about perks, it's not about basic needs. So for a software developer, a fast computer is a basic need. So in Africa, maybe food in the office is a basic need because you just can't go anywhere to get food. But if you speak about Estonia, for example, then food is something that is not necessary. But I would say that the first time you bring food, that creates excitement, and this is something that helps you to bring to build a culture. So every time you do it too often, what happens is that people actually get tired. So it's not a perk anymore, it's just something that is there. It's difficult to take it away, but actually it's not a perk. So what I really recommend, or what I personally like, is to create this element of surprise, create some excitement, and find new things, because the first ice cream is always the best. The second one kind of sucks already.
For example, what we do in our this service platform, we actually create new services every third month. So every time when people log in every third month, they see what new things have become and they get more interested about. For example, in stress management, we can use different kind of support in every third month, so that keeps people engaged with those activities.
There are actually a lot of things that you can do inside the company, and it's not always that like HR team or leadership has to do something. It's our own employees actually who are organizing these things, who are playing chess together. Now we have debate club inside the company, and a lot of other things. They are just, coming together in Slack we are using for conversation and everything in the company. So they just make their channel and they start with these things. So it can be very different things, and it's challenging for them.
Yeah, and also you don't have to hold on to like old perks. For example, for us, winter days didn't work anymore, so we used that resources to do other stuff like movie nights and things that actually matter at that time. So, yeah.
Okay, there's obviously. The further you go, the more detailed and intricate and interesting these perks become. But one of the main things that still a lot of startup companies offer is, as you already mentioned, is the options. And you've dealt a lot with helping startup companies build those option portfolios, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's right. I would say. Nowadays, I would say that 80% of startups, or 90% even, offer options straight away. They don't even go to fundraising yet, that they start offering options right away. So it's definitely something that's rapidly grown, because I think 5 or 10 years ago, it was quite exclusive to get options straight away. So now it's a commodity, everybody's used to it. And now what we see is that the employees are getting more sufficient and have more knowledge about options. So I would say that 5 years ago, if somebody would receive an option agreement, they would just sign it without even reading it. But now they already have enough knowledge to understand how it works, and they start asking more questions. So I would say that even the options have become more employee-friendly over the past 5 years. And I would say that this is definitely something that everybody has to consider when they want to hire talent.
Okay, and in our audience, how many of you have options in the companies that you work for or co-found or so? Okay, quite a few, but not too many. And
I want to ask, did you read your agreement through before you signed it? Or
raise your hand if you read the agreement.
Did you have a leverage to negotiate the terms at all, or did you just read it through and sign it? How was the process? I'm actually interested to hear. For example, how was the process? Did you have leverage to discuss the conditions, or you had? Okay.
The rest of you who didn't talk to this guy after our session.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you see that having options in the company really makes employees feel like they are a bigger part of the company, or is it just such a small part that it doesn't make the difference? It's already, again, another hygiene factor.
Well, when we went public in Finland, I think 3 years ago, we offered a possibility to become an owner for everyone in the company. And I think it was 2/3 of the employees who used this option. So they saw it as an important thing for them.
I mean, in our company also, if we are, and especially if we are hiring engineering people, it's very important part of the compensation package. So they are very interested to have this ownership in the company. So we don't have any problem with that.
Good. What about LHV?
Yeah, I would say more and more of candidates also ask about this, and based on our experience, it actually works. Yeah, it makes you feel like a part of the journey, or like an owner, some kind. So yeah.
Yeah, it works for me as well. I think I check the share price of Swedbank every morning with my morning coffee. So I like it. It's a bit of a gamified way to work for your company. And of course, it's easier when it's a smaller company, when it's already 17,000 employees. there's not much I can do personally to make the stock price skyrocket. I might be able to do something to plummet it, but you know, I can't really help take it up. Unless you all want to buy some shares, now's a good time. Okay, any more questions from the audience? Some topics that you really wish that we covered in this session and that have not been answered yet? Yeah, a lot of hands, that's perfect. It makes my job a lot easier.
Hi there. It's a question for Johanna. In your previous talk that you did in the other room, one of the top services was to kill a rumor. Well, obviously I didn't understand what that meant, so what was that?
Well, we have one of the services is that you can actually fill in all the rumors you have heard on the, from your colleagues, and then it becomes straight to, or we receive it in human resources, and then we go through every week all the rumors they have heard and tell that this is right and this is not the right one. So it is a great way to kill all the rumors on the early level. So yeah, this can also be a perk to people because that is something that usually, makes people, when there are a lot of rumors, they are insecure, and this is not engaging them to the company. So trying to be creative.
What if the rumors are true? Is that always a good thing?
Yeah, now as a public company, we have some struggles with killing all the rumors because sometimes they might be true and we don't have a permission to tell them.
Okay, I saw some more hands up. Can we, start raising them again?
Okay, thank you. I have another concern, like you will be talking about providing all these perks and bonuses for attracting talents and employees, and it's very nice. But my concern is, do you feel that this approach can spoil this talent, and how do you manage this? Because, as soon as we get this talent provided by good salary, with all these bonuses, he or she become very comfortable with all these conditions, and maybe it's so the question is how to keep this person motivated, sharp, and how to keep the level of healthy competition within the company.
I think that is a good question because in IT sector, that is, we see it already, all the companies are offering great perks and we are competing with each other and with the salaries and so on. So because we don't have any threats at the moment, we don't have any external threats, economical situation has been good really long. So that leads us to the situation where we can discuss about amount of bananas and oranges in our, office, and that is not the real problem. But people, because we don't have real problems, then we are concentrating on these kind of things, and we are trying to do something for it. So by giving people meaningful projects and getting their focus on the business and trying to do that, then those things will diminish somehow. So. But it's a real problem because we give them more and more and more and more all the time, and some level, sometimes there might be an end of it. Yeah, that's a good question. And what happens when the economical situation collapses, for example? If that happens, then we have to do a lot of changes. So, yeah.
I also think that you can't spoil your engineers because it's very hard to find them. And of course you can spoil them if you only give them money, but you don't give anything else, like no challenges, not a good manager, and a shitty culture in the company or something like that. So of course on top of this perks and everything else has to be suitable in the company, and and you should also be aware what people think about the company. If they are proud, if you know that, then it's great, but also you have to retain it. And I think that all these kind of perks like food and whatever else, ping pong tables and so on, it's quite hygiene. If you go and start to take them away, then you might have a war. But you can't spoil them.
Yeah, I agree. So I think perks are just as a cherry on top of a cake, and the cake is purpose. So I'm not going to try to hire a person who is not interested in working in banking, let's say. Even if you had like 5 winter offices in a year, they just don't care about those perks because the purpose needs to be right.
Okay, so you touched very interesting point about challenging. Can you give like more examples? How do you challenge your IT and engineer people?
Oh, it's very easy. We have the app which is live 24/7. So everything they do live. So if you make a mistake, you can imagine what that means. So we have like 30 million users, and yeah, this is a very huge challenge. And also our engineers can see right away in the app what they have done. So this is also very good to see the results of your job. And also like customer service. They contact the customers, whatever happens. In Africa, everywhere, violence, everything happens all the time. So they can help and they see the results. So this is also important.
Thank you.
Okay, can we get some, yeah, I see a hand there. I really love that you're all very engaged here, and it's very interesting for me to also hear about.
Thank you.
My list for my employer is getting real long throughout these 15 minutes. This is going to be an expensive business trip for them. But now to your question.
Thanks. I have a question about hiring process. Like you can check the skill set, the background, but how can you check, do they have the same values and are they the good fit in the company culture?
Well, what happened previously in our company was that when I were interviewing those software engineers, and asking them quite tough questions about their purpose or their future wishes, what happened, they freezed, because they haven't, they didn't know those things. They haven't identified those ever. And what we did, we changed the process that way that nowadays we send those questions beforehand for them, so they can actually, in their home, they can actually think about those things and try to identify their purpose and these kind of things that are quite demanding areas. And what happened was nowadays when people come to interview session, quite many engineers, they open their laptop and they have an Excel there, and then they have all the answers in their Excel sheet, and that makes them, secure, and they can the quality of those discussions increased dramatically. So it was a good thing for us. Yeah.
There are questions.
Okay.
Hi, I have a question. Basically, if you have a small company that doesn't have VC funding, then you can't really afford fancy offices and all these perks, and you can't really compete with a salary with big companies. And you made a point before about the stock options, but unless you have a company that can potentially go to IPO, those options are pretty much worthless. So one thing I can think of that can kind of persuade people to come work for you is remote work. It gives you a much bigger pool of potential employees, and also gives you an opportunity to negotiate the salary because you give them the freedom to work from home or whenever they want to work. And have you had experience with hiring people remotely, engineers in particular? And what was that experience like?
I'm just going to reply on the option part. I disagree. I mean, options are not worthless if you don't do an IPO. I mean, of course they're worth something. For example, if you would have options in Taxify and you would exercise them now, then I think you would be quite happy to have the shares of a company which is worth more than billions. So this example you brought is not correct. I think.
Taxify is, again, it's a billion-dollar company basically, or $100 million company. But if you have like a SaaS company that's can have potential to have a few million revenue a year,
yeah,
then those options are not as valuable as you may think, basically. You cannot kind of persuade people to work for you for a low salary only for those options.
This, of course, depends on your business, but I mean, in essence, the idea of an option is to, is to allow a cash contribution or shares. So if you can convert them into shares, and sell them to other shareholders or investors, then you can still convert them and convert them to cash. So,
yeah, but that only works when you have a business that has potential to be sold for a lot of money.
Or get investors in, because you can do secondary sales, and so the IPO it might not be the only way how you can benefit from your options. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
But you had a second part to your question as well about remote work.
Yes.
Right? Any of you have experience with hiring employees remotely?
Yeah. For example, we had one engineer working from Canada, also from Sweden and so on. So you can have people working remotely, but you have to have then the processes in place. And I'm not talking about some kind of corporate stuff, but just very basic things. They have all the tools, they have the internet and everything. So of course it's possible. Sometimes it happens that for some people they just lack this social things and they want to be and come back to the company to work with others together. But it's possible, and if it's possible in your company, of course this is your advantage and you should offer that.
But the biggest disadvantage, I think, is miscommunication that you get because you don't face people face to face. Is that as big of a problem as I think it is?
But you have all the tools to have video conferences. For example, in our company we have like 30 different countries, 90 plus cities, and we're all communicating all the time through video conferences, Slack. So I think that's not the problem if you just set it right.
All right, thank you.
You know, I can actually share from my experience. I work from Riga, but I work for a team that's in Stockholm. And although we can video conference and set up our weekly meetings and everything, there's nothing quite like the ideas that come up when I go to Stockholm and grab a random coffee. And you lose a bit of that serendipity when you are very, very far away. Maybe it's not that necessary for all jobs, but for some I think that it is this additional value.
Hello. From me. Hello, I have two questions. The first one is I want to understand what kind of person you think he or she is talent. The second one is I have heard that you talk about keep the salary benefits, but do you have any solution to defense with the contact from another company to your talents?
Okay, to repeat the questions, so we have two. Let's start with the first one. The first one is what do you define as talent? I guess, is that correct? Yeah.
I think that is quite, in our company and context, it is a difficult thing because you can be a talent in different project than the other. So if you have it is about, we believe that everyone has the potential to become a talent. And when we recruit people, we believe in that potential. We don't have any talent management groups, where we identify some of those employees as a talent. We believe that everyone has the potential. But that potential may become visible from different reasons. And if you have a difficult situation in your own life, for example, that potential may be hidden. And this way, we think that everyone is a talent, but does it show the talent? That depends on the context. And by our system where we actually provide unique support based on your needs, we are trying to tackle this thing.
Okay, good answer. And then the second part of the question was about employee poaching, which is probably a sensitive topic for everyone. How do you deal in situations when there's other companies kind of attacking your nourished colleagues?
I don't think it's a bad idea. Of course, our engineers also get daily some poaches. So if they feel okay in the company, then they don't go. But it's okay to go and talk to other companies so they know their value and they also maybe understand better why they are valued in our company. I don't think it's a bad idea that they get poached.
We have a good solution. We tell our employees that every time when some other company calls to you, tell it to our sales guys, and then our sales guys calls to them that we can provide you support in software engineering if you need. So that is a good solution.
Yeah, and our team actually wants to learn from it, poaching by other companies, because we really do want to know what are the bad samples of it, and also good ones, like that, the ones that get them thinking about the offer. So we really want to know what's the message inside that, and what we can do to kind of do the same, maybe. Yeah.
And how do you get that information? I mean, in a successful case, it will be a letter of resignation, and maybe then they'll explain how. But if they're unsuccessful at stealing away employees, how do you get them to open up about such situations when they've been approached?
You mean our own people to talk about it? Yeah, I don't think nobody needs to be afraid, because we all get poached from time to time. So I guess, yeah, they don't need to be afraid that's going to be an issue, because it's not.
We have created a service that is a pit stop service, and you can order it from the web store, and it's about, we describe it this way, that are you looking for new challenges? Just tell it aloud, and then we can discuss about it, and do we have anything to offer to you? If we don't have a new role or challenges you are requiring, then it is okay you to leave the company, and it helps to make this visible, you know, telling that it is okay to talk about these plans beforehand.
Okay, and I think we have time for two last questions here, or was it?
All right, so that's essentially following the losing of the talent. So you have so far spoken about different types of successes. Can you all share a lesson of failure or a lesson of lessons learned on something associated with Perks and Purpose? So where you did something that you had to redo?
As I mentioned about the Kinder penguins, I tried to take them away, or at least that was my failure. We thought that, you know, a lot of people said that we want to be more healthy, and the company could provide more healthier food. But yeah, you can imagine that was not the idea of everybody in the company. So you should be careful with these things. That not always thinking that, you know, these people want this, but these people want that. So you should have different things.
I think this symbolic side of benefits is quite interesting. You know, for example, we offer a credit card, company credit card, for every employee if they want to have it. And it is more like a symbolic thing, you know, giving the black card to them. It's like saying about, we trust in you, and you can use our money as they are your own. And it is a bit challenging message, but people are actually taking the responsibility. And we have research about, about like 50% of new employees take the card. Others are happy that they have the option to take it, but they don't want it. And then about those 50%, about 10% of employees really use it, you know. So the amount of money that it requires is quite small comparing to this symbolic message about having the responsibility and trust. So I think that is interesting when choosing the benefits, what it tells about your company and how it symbolizes some values you have.
Any lessons, any failures from your side?
I was trying to remind myself, but I would say we do failed keeping the winter days alive. But we actually, like Anu said, every first ice cream is the one that really matters. We are trying to think of new things, and all the new things we have done actually are gone like well, yeah.
Cool. So last question, make it a killer one, no pressure.
Hello? So I have a question. Most probably you have heard the saying that employees do not quit a company, they quit their bosses. So how have you solved this problem in your companies?
I might add there that they also might quit because of the company culture. So there are different sayings. I think, or what we have also thought about this year, to really think about the leadership and leadership training. Because as a startup, we have very young managers around the world who need a lot of support. And this is what we should give them. because they want to be successful, and we should support them in that in every way. And that is the main part. Like you should really support everyone in your company, but especially these team leaders.
I think when people leave the company because of the bosses, I think the root cause is that the manager role has become a value in itself, you know. So people have forgotten why the manager role is in the company. It is because they have to reach some kind of end goal, you know, affecting on something. And if it becomes a value in itself, then the managers don't do that job. They are just being managers because they want to have the status, and that is the problem. And what we have done is that we don't have any more bosses. You know, we have only one boss who is CEO, and we have 500 employees, and we have decentralized the leadership. So there is no anymore one manager offering the support to his team members. Instead, we have 100 service providers in-house who are offering one part of the leadership to others and do it well. So this way, people are not dependent on one manager, which is the problem if the manager is not good or there are chemistry problems between them.
Okay, I think our time is up, and what I can, first of all, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being an amazing and engaging audience. And what I will take away, I think, is that what you already said, is that, you know, the perks are just the cherry on top of the cake, and what matters is how you bake the cake and if it's the right flavor for the person you're offering it to. So yeah, I think that we can all value the things in our companies that go on top of what we do, but the question to ask yourself is, are you doing the thing that makes you happy and fulfills your purpose? Definitely, at least for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.